Love music. Live sport. Talking football with Bill Young, Hugh Burns and Paul Hegarty on Rock Sport Radio.
Yes, it's the final one of the week. It's good to be with you, as we always are, between 6 and 8 across central Scotland on DAB, digital radio, online at rocksportradio.co.uk and via your smartphone. Let me remind you, if you use one of those iPhone thingies, you can listen on the TuneIn app. If you use one of those Android-y, jobby, trouble things, you can listen on TuneIn plus Radiogram. But if you want to watch the programme, dead easy. Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, the live video feed with you every night between 6 and 8. Being a Friday, Hugh Burns, Paul Hegarty in the studio with me tonight. He waves every week.
Thousands of fans will be tuning in, of course, when I hit my Facebook page and tell people where I am and what they're listening to. Why do you think your listening figures have went up? I'm now on Facebook and telling thousands and thousands of people that follow me on Facebook. It's incredible. I didn't think I had as many pals.
They're actually pals spelled Troll.
I'm enjoying. Listen, it's funny.
Listen, you've avoided it like poison for years. Now you're on the old Facebook. Tell me.
I'm enjoying it.
You didn't. You send me Did you send me a connection, a friend request the other night?
No, you sent me a friend request.
No, because I bumped yours.
Yeah.
I bumped yours.
You sent me.
I saw this friend request from Hugh Burns, and I thought, not a chance in hell.
We had been on, I think, together Monday night. Next thing I got home and I went, friend request with Bill Young. The show didn't go that well. I says, he's getting dinged. Swipe. No chance. But no, I'm enjoying it.
Are you really enjoying it?
I had a bit of banter this morning. It's amazing. I seen Big Gay. This is quite funny. This is what amuses me on Facebook.
Listen, they'll block you and kick you off it if you're
nasty.
If you keep putting pictures of that on there. I mean, it's not a lot to look at, I know, but don't put it on there because they will block you.
They're liking the pictures of wee Finlay on my wee red, white and blue shawl, and I wrapped him up the day on it. And I went, Finlay just back for the Copeland Road for last night, and it was millions of likes. There this morning, Big Davy Proven, who's no longer with us, his boy Graham, who I'm friendly with, he posts something saying, hear this, I thought this was brilliant. My contract's up my mobile phone in a month, Graham. They gave me an old phone I'm not using. Next thing, next thing, somebody posted a picture, I ain't bother, big man, of the oldest phone you've ever seen in your life. And then Ian Ferguson, all the way in Australia, how we doing, boys? I've got a phone, I'll send it out to you, big man. And I was like, Fergie, you're doing for a day out. For you, he says, listen, the wife doesn't know, but I'm now at the airport. Don't bring your Burnsy because it's extra drink for me. Just pure mad stuff. And I'm going, this is absolutely brilliant. You know? I think because I'm new into it, I quite like this.
No, I think it's because people can get on with you from a distance. It's only when they're in the same room as you. It becomes torturous.
Block me in the room. But no, I'm enjoying it. It's good fun. I don't think Hannah likes me on it.
It's long overdue.
I kind of see what Hannah Burns is up to on it. There's some of the pictures I don't want to see when your daughter's on it.
Well, I'm going to say something, and he's probably not listening. He'll be out celebrating. He's only 11 years old, but my eldest grandson, William, was made head prefect today.
Oh, brilliant.
Back at school in the new term, so he was made head prefect. So congratulations to him, William Fraser. Proud as punch I am about it.
Oh, without a doubt,
Great.
absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
What was your claim to fame? Did you become the monitor? Did you put all the food out? Was that yours at the top of the table?
You think they were going to trust me to put food out?
Remember the monitors?
Aye.
You just had to get on with them, didn't you? Or you were getting nothing on your plate.
Do you know what I used to get when I was at school? They used to call me in at 7:30 in the morning to go around all the classes with the crates of milk and leave them before people got to school.
Aye, unbelievable.
That was what I used to get done. Remember that when you got the wee crates of milk in the corner and the teacher would go about 10:15 or something, milk time, and you'd all go up and you'd pick your bottle of milk, your wee straw.
God.
God.
The thing I hated about school dinners, you used to get home stinking of school dinners, didn't you? It didn't matter where you went, you had that stench.
We always had good school dinners. Do you know what my favourite was?
What?
Corned beef pie.
I remember.
Mashed potatoes and cabbage.
Brilliant. Can't beat that.
And they used to give us lemon custard with like a jam tart thingy.
Oh, the sweets were always the best, weren't they?
Well, yeah, because you're into sweets. You've got the sweet tooth. I'm the savoury kind of type of person.
I was out for something to eat yesterday, and I had a soup, and then I've got to have a sweet, Bill. Must have a sweet. Big time. and you wouldn't know, because obviously the torso and the shape that I've got.
I'm serious. I'm not being daft here. I would never have thought you were a sweet tooth, because you don't carry extra weight.
No, I do a wee tiny bit. A couple of
only
handles,
between your ears.
Well, it's a dead weight. It's a dead weight.
Burnsy, you're informed tonight,
Dead
son,
weight.
I'll tell you.
Dead weight. But it's good. I like going on early doors and chatting about life, because there's a lot of other people doing it. I go, I think Bill and I do that anyway. You know, Jim White's very good at it. What have you been up to? Before you know it, he goes round all these guys. What have you been doing? So I think people kind of like to know that we are quite real. We are kind of daft. We do good things, we do bad things, we do silly stuff. So
of course we do.
We're just like
human.
We're just like everybody else, you know.
Oh,
a great night last night. We solo up in the gantry and dancing about like dafties. Solo posted that on, and we got a lot of likes on that.
Well, I got sucked in, because wee William's dad, Stephen, who was away at a course. He works offshore, and he's away at a course down in Warwick for some new piece of kit that they're using on oil rigs, and he'd been away a week, and he gets sent home early. So the daughter gets on to me and says, Dad, do you fancy staying an extra couple hours late at work tonight, which was last night? So I said, right, I'm not sure, because Britney Spears is on at the Hydro, Rangers are playing at home, the traffic's going to be mayhem. Why? She says, Stephen gets in at 10 o'clock to Glasgow. Can you pick him up?
All right.
So I did the show, and I thought, oh, God, here we go. So anyway, I phoned her back, and I said, all right, I'll pick Stephen up. She says, right, he's boarding at 10 to 9. So Muggins here drives along.
From Aberdeen?
No, from Birmingham.
All right.
So Muggins goes flying along to the airport at 9:30, thinking 50-minute flight. He'll be in by 10 o'clock. Got his bags away. 20 to 11. He contacts me and says, we've just landed. Oh. So I've been sat there since 9:30. It's 20 to 11. But first of all, and this is what worries me, he sends me a text as soon as he hits the tarmac saying, if you want to get off, I'll get a taxi home. I've been sat there since I'll just write that from 9:30, bit off.
And we're talking steam at this time. We're talking about steam, all sorts going through that big napper of yours.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I can imagine. Picture the scene.
And I thought to myself, I just about negotiated the crowd coming out of Ibrox.
Oh.
The early boys were just pouring out ahead of the full-time whistle with about 3 minutes to go.
By the way, I got back to Eaglesham last night at 11 o'clock. I left Ibrox at 10 to 10. And it's normally an 8-minute drive. I do know what they're doing over there, and I'm amazed that I'm not listening and more in social media and in the papers about how they're just not getting the traffic right over there. That's me parking just off Paisley Road West, a nice wee bit that I know. I pay for my park. I don't get into the Albion because that's an absolute nightmare anyway, the Albion.
Why don't you park in here?
Yeah, but it's a bit of a walk, Bill. I have done before, Bill, on Saturdays I park in here. But on midweek, I don't know why, but I probably...
It can't be that much further from here than it is Paisley Road West.
Well, it's a long road, isn't it? I like to go...
Aye, but you'll not get that close to the ground.
Yeah, and this is probably easier for getting away out onto the lights quicker. Yeah, possibly, yeah. And with this big running...
£10.
Well, listen...
£10, you can phone me and I'll open the gates for you.
With this big long run in Europe that's hopefully coming my way, that's probably where I will park on a Thursday night.
Right, well, here we go. Look at this.
What are we getting?
Nothing
to do with football.
All the wigwam bams are out tonight.
Nothing to do with football.
David Urquhart. Any truth, Bill? Celtic are going into administration on Monday. I heard they punted the disco lights to the local branch of Ramsden's to stave off another day. Come on, boys.
Stick to driving your buses, Davey.
Bill, ask Shuggy how it feels to support a team that can win games in Europe this season. Smiley face, time to gloat.
Yeah, possibly, yeah, correct. Good.
Here's another one. Memories was the big orange crate of triangle milk that you had to take to each classroom. Now, these were wee milk bottles.
Who's that from?
And 8-minute drive, walk your lazy lout.
That was quick. Good.
Right, let's talk football, and we'll start with Celtic, because they were in action last night against Suduva and went a goal up. Fairly quickly got a goal pegged back to them, which was a horror. I mean, did you see it?
Yeah, I seen the big man coming out. Yeah.
What an that was schoolboy defending. I'm sorry.
The big goal came out like Superman with blindfolds on. You know, he just did not, for me, look as though he was commanding enough to come and win it, Bill, at all. Listen, you know, I'm even reading in the back of the Sun this morning, Robert Greaves doing it, who was in Lithuania, saying Brendan Rodgers has called on his Celtic defenders to show more pride. That's a big statement for Brendan Rodgers, and we very seldom.
I don't think it is a pride thing.
Well,
I really don't, Hugh. I think it's
there, and I'm sure.
Yeah, no, but I don't think it is a pride thing. I think it's total naiveness.
I like to read quotes, and he goes on to say, Rodgers and say, I thought we made really hard work of it. We basically gave them far too much respect, didn't close them down, and gave away a soft goal.
Had another wee dig as well about the lack of signings when he was asked by people saying we have to work with what we've got.
Met Simon Donnelly. We said in the village this morning, we'll have the bit of banter. He was going in for a coffee, and we're chewing the fat. He was asking for you.
I bet he's glad that he's not here anymore with his bets that would be going back and forward about.
He would be giving us a few quid, yeah. He does Celtic TV, he does some matchday hospitality. Always listen to Sid, very cold and calculated, and he doesn't often get it wrong. He knows his stuff, and he just threw something at us for a point of view. My main concern is when I speak to Celtic supporters is how Brendan Rodgers didn't get a pot of gold to stave off Rangers right now, because they must have known that the Rangers, as in a club, would throw all possibilities to Steven Gerrard to stop this 10 in a row, and it's beginning even at an early stage of his management beginning to happen. He can't believe it they didn't sign John McGinn. He says, and for me, I've spoke to wee Jackie about it. No, he's thick as thieves with Jake McNamara. He says, if I'm there, Scott Brown goes to right back and he plays in the middle of the park with Encham, and there's your midfield. Scott Brown would effectively have done a job at right back for a season, Chuggy. He says, because there's no wingers good enough from Scotland to go at Scott Brown. Well, apart from maybe the wee wingers that are Rangers right now, but that's a different ball. That's another story. So that was his thoughts on how he was allowed to leave Scottish football. In general, didn't really say too much else, that he didn't know anything that was going on, but always my concern is when I speak to ex-players. Met Andy Walker today, we spoke about a Rangers thing that I'll bring up when we're talking about Rangers, but I met a Celtic supporter in the Mall at East Kilbride, and this guy is dying the wool Celtic fan, and with a bit of banter he says, Shuggy, for the first time in all these years I'm worried about next Sunday. And that's coming for a guy that doesn't miss a game, and he knows the game. He says, I'm worried about the game. So,
I think to be fair, and I say this absolutely impartially, I think to be fair, a lot of Celtic fans are, not because they think Celtic are a bad team, but they think they can't defend.
Yeah. And
that was shown tail end of last season. It's carried over to this season. Last night's goal that wee boy ran in behind them to score, it was 6 yard box. He runs in behind them all. Nobody tracks him. Nobody knows he's coming from behind. Nobody's shouting. The goalie's, well,
what's the goalie doing?
Yeah, what is the goalie doing?
We could have got our own back with that one.
We could have. What is the goalie doing?
Tom and I went into a recording studio this morning. We could have get that back.
You could have got that back.
Because that was worse than Wes's.
In fact, I'll tell you something. Some wise guy,
hopefully,
will actually put that voice track to that piece of video. I'm sure they will.
If the Rangers fans are listening tonight, and there's a lot of whiz kids out there, let's play that back. Let's watch the free kick coming in, and let's use the voiceovers for the last Old Firm game, because that would be getting our own back. So the Bears should be jumping on that.
Well, I'm not going to advocate that. I'm just surprised that no one has done it.
Well, if any Bears listening, I'm pretty sure there is. Let's get that done before the end of the show tonight and get that pinged into me on my phone.
But that was schoolboy stuff.
Yeah,
it really was.
It was like such a gap between where they wanted to defend and the goalie. And really, how can the goalie leave that gap there? But if anything, you've got to squeeze. The goalie's got to squeeze up, because the guy's not going to shoot on goal. He's got to squeeze up and play a kind of sweeper role that he's just got to come and go, thanks very much. Yeah. Push up, and I've defended the area. So,
Luby Smith on Facebook. What's Hugh's thoughts?
Luby's a pal of mine, yeah.
What's Hugh's thoughts on the referee last night at Ibrox? Loads of foul throw-ins went unnoticed. We'll talk about that in a wee minute.
We will, Luby, yeah.
But looking at Celtic last night, they've got the away goal, which might be the saving grace and the salvation. Although, if I'm honest, I think Celtic will be very comfortable at home. Mm-hmm. But, you know, the thing that worries you is there is still a goal there for that team with that level of defending. Mm-hmm. And if they get a goal away from home, the whole thing changes as well.
Yeah,
they weren't a good team last night. They were very average, I've got to say.
I've seen bits and highlights of it. Bill read the reports.
Well, I watched both games, one after the other.
Yeah,
and I have to say, I thought that Celtic made them look good.
Yeah, I'm looking at the marks again on the sun down the left-hand side. It's 5s and 6s, which isn't. And Simunovic, who has had a thing on his ankle, a scan. I heard Brendan Rodgers saying that today. He's going to be out, big centre-back. I don't think Kieran Tierney was at his best, you know, and Cham was a bit quiet in the middle of the park, so was Forrest. They're all 6s and 7s, and you've got to go with the guys who have been at a game. Robert Grieve knows his stuff. He's a good reporter. But again, heads it by Dedrick Boyata was nowhere to be seen. But he wasn't the only Celtic defender who didn't show up when he was needed. So really, this is sticking now. This defensive lapse. Some Steven Gerrard, Gary McAllister build up to the game. I know they've got Sunday to look after, and then obviously next Thursday games are coming thick and fast for Rangers. But it's something that now suddenly what they've
they're
added,
coming thick and fast for Celtic as well.
Of course they have. You know, it's something. There's a flaw there. There's a flaw, and how has went that full circle where Rangers look so secure with Katic and Golson, and then Celtic look, you know, and it's interesting.
Explain this one to me. Mm-hmm. Brendan Rodgers yesterday quoted as saying that Boyata didn't travel because he's not right physically yet.
No.
Yet the previous week he said he was fit. He was fit and able to play.
Yeah, I smell that
when Boyata said he wasn't. Mm-hmm. Now, if he wasn't fit or he's not physically at his peak or fit to play, according to Rodgers, what's happened in between the time he was fit to play when Rodgers said he was fit to now? Was he injured in training? What's happened there?
Well, I think it's when you look at it.
Because I'll tell you now, if they're saying that he was injured in training, I don't believe it. And I'll tell you why I don't believe it, because the word still was used. Still not physically right.
Not physically right.
So that means that somebody was lying the previous week.
When you're putting all your eggs in the one basket and looking at bringing in Dedrick Boyata as a saviour, then I think you're struggling.
Well, you know my feelings.
You're talking about a player who, again, I keep going back to Connor Golson and the money Rangers paid for him, and they're looking for 10 million for Boyata, and they would bite a hand off of a European team right now, where obviously he could still go on under the window. And I think we've got a far better centre-back, more demanding, technically better on the ball, commanding, played at a better level. Okay, Boyata's played at the World Cup, but when you look at that, I think Celtic suddenly have looked at Ayer at the back, the big German lad, Simunovic, who's injured last night. Celtic fans are saying that big Jack Henry's a bomb scare. You know, getting the ball, getting it away, make mistakes, centre back, can he do it?
Listen, I've heard rumours it's not just the fans that are saying that.
Well, you know, so, you know, they've in for McKenna, they've offered $3.5 million. Does it not show a wee bit of desperado when you've went to go and sign a guy at $3.5 million who's sitting with a torn hamstring?
Well,
right
that's exactly the point I made in the middle of the week.
How long is that going to take to get him right? You know, that's another Comper one, isn't it? You buy him when he's no fit. They've tried to nurture him along, get him fit. He played 1 and a bit games and he's back in the reserves again, or the 21s, whatever. So all is not well, and it's a big there's a big question mark over everything that's going on, and suddenly everybody's looking at Brendan Rodgers to get them out this, I don't know, blip, I would say, more than a rut. You know, they started the season, you know, they're still winning football matches. But again, speaking to Simon Donnelly this morning, he says, listen, Shuggy, see when Thistle scored last week, I was expecting him to go and win the game. When has that happened? Over the last 6, 7, 8 years.
Especially with Sid, because Sid, you know...
Oh, he would sit here and defend the hoops. He was blue in the face. He would know he has a blue nose, but that's another story. But basically, it was having a bit of banter with him. So it's not like you to turn in, oh, no, you're beloved. It's the Rangers again, so we're having the banter, right? He says, they score, I was expecting him to go. He says, and Celtic scored 2 kind of late-ish goals, but that wasn't convincing. Midweek wasn't convincing. There's nothing really being overly convincing. They couldn't beat 10 men at AK Athens, you know. So really, they've been kind of bitty, huff and puff, Bill, haven't they, really, through pre-season.
Do you still think they'll go through?
I think they'll have enough at home, Bill. I
agree.
I think purely on the strength of, they have...
I think the away goal is good for them,
Massive,
number one.
massive.
Number two, I think the home advantage and a night at Celtic Park, a European game.
They've beat better at home, Bill.
Yeah.
They've beat better at home.
And I think they made that team look mediocre last night, and that was the best they could look. I think Celtic will go through. I think they'll win.
Yeah, I can't see that team scoring over there unless there is another bit of mishap at the back.
But there's the thing. There's the variable. Nobody can heart and hand say that they've kind of convinced that there's not a goal available.
No, it's true. Yeah, they need to shore it up. They need to tighten it up. Interesting to see what they do over the weekend and back in the Premier League. Certainly, everybody, on the back of what's happening at the back for Celtic, what's happening off the field with Celtic, what's happening with the squabbles that's going on, maybe even internally, because you know what Scott Brown's like. He'll not look the road boy at his own, so don't believe any of the people saying everything's all made up, blah, blah, blah. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Nonsense. Yeah. When you've got somebody that's won so many medals as Scott Brown, and then somebody that's been in the club as long as Tierney and James Forrest and these guys and Griffiths and what have you think they're going to welcome the big fella back with open arms? No. They'll look at him upon as there's been a bit of mutiny here, and really they need everybody to get together. So everybody's going to play Celtic right now, Bill. I'm not saying they'll fancy their chances, but there's a wee bit of
they'll not go with the
there.
same trepidation and fear.
Absolutely. That's exactly correct. Correct.
All right, let's move to Ibrox last night. It was one of those games, I watched both of them. It was one of those games where Rangers had a lot of the ball. That team threatened on occasions, but Rangers looked fairly solid at the back. My worry was that they didn't convert the chances that they had. They've got a 1-goal lead, and you cannot complain when you go into the second leg with a lead. I think Rangers can always pinch a goal over there.
Yeah.
If they do, and they can do it first, it really puts pressure on that team.
Yeah, I've got to agree. Yeah, I would think the goal, not losing. You go over there and score, they need 3. You've went through no way in a way if they get the 2. So I think they started the game really well. Fans were right up for it. There was a great buzz about, and really everybody's playing at a high tempo. It was just a matter of time, I thought, before Rangers. I was surprised it took as long into the first half before they got the breakthrough. They were pressing.
This team are known for their defending, even though they let 3 goals in on Sunday.
Big, strong defenders.
They're known for their defending. They're not known for scoring goals, even at home.
No, they had a couple of half chances. They kind of got they kind of overrun Rangers for a bit. Just when Rangers scored, when you're a bit vulnerable, when you've lost a goal, and you see teams losing goals at that particular time. And there's a couple of wee half chances, and the manager was raging. First time I've seen that wee edge to him. He was shouting at somebody on the park. Whoever was doing it, I was looking at the players he was trying to have a pop at, and there was nobody looking round, so he was obviously, they were giving him the cold shoulder, which made him even more angry. And he ran back into the dugout. They managed to get to half time. It was particularly pleasing seeing some of the performances again for Rangers. As you say, Katic plays the way he's facing, takes no chances.
For me, that's what centre backs do. Hugh. I know we're not one on this a lot of the time, but you see, when you see it done well, like Katic does it, I think it proves the point.
Ejaria, the middle of the park,
thought he was very good.
Best game.
Thought he was
fit,
very good.
Commanding, kept it, swirled on it, passed it wide.
I thought what he did well was dictate the pace of the game when he had the ball.
Yeah, you know why? Because he's now getting a run. He's getting to know the pace of the game, getting to know his players.
I tell you who did disappoint me. I thought Candeas started the first 20 minutes, looked great, and then just petered out.
Worked his socks off, Disney hide, gets pelters, does something good. Final ball, shocking. Could have been a million times better. Never seems to miss the first defender when he's looking to whip it in. Listen, I was always decent trying to whip it in front of the goalie and the centre back in that penalty spot area. If Daniel Candeas could do that, he'd be playing in the English Premiership. I'm telling you, Bill, he's got everything. He's brave, he goes and wins wee knocks with his head, he works well with his right back, he tucks in, they're a nice wee tandem, but the final ball of the Beckham style, the way Coop used to whip it in, the way Tierney can whip it, or what players like that, like You know something? It could do worse than go and see Barisic, the way he knocks it into the box.
Yeah.
And when they're doing crossing and finishing, I'm not telling the guys that do it, but they'll be working on him, because it's the only thing in his game that he could really add to it.
The only thing I will say, and I'm not being critical, because he put in the header for the goal to go from Connor Golson, but he is not a natural goal scorer. Alfredo Morelos, that one that came over and he did almost like a star jump, and I thought, what the hell is he doing? Yet he almost scored with it.
He's different.
And you just think to yourself, who cares whether it's orthodox or unorthodox? The boy scores goals.
Yeah, and it isn't shy for the opportunity to try to score.
Still got that wee bit in him again. He was at it again last night, and I'm worried about it. I really do.
Well, especially when they are going to Parkhead, go to Motherwell, a bit of powder keg this Sunday after on the events of the boy.
Peter Hartley,
doesn't help things, but obviously, Morelos needs to watch what he's doing.
I have to say, the night before those comments were made public, we spoke to Keith Lasley, and Keith was nothing but complimentary about Rangers, saying how well they'd improved, how impressive they'd looked, was very measured in the comments he made. He said, we'll go out and we'll worry about our game and we'll play them and get in their faces, but he was completely as you would expect him to be as the assistant manager of the club. And I tweeted that after the Hartley comments had come out, which were absolutely appalling, and it's right that the SFA should look at them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the assistant manager was quite the opposite, and I thought for me, I kind of played one against the other.
Collectively, Rangers have got better players than UFA. You look at the physicality side of it, they're big, they're strong.
The goalie's a bomb scare, though.
Yeah, he doesn't want to take it at all.
No, he's a bomb scare.
So
doesn't hold it. No. Even when he goes down for it, parries it back into the danger area.
Rangers can get beyond them. Ryan Kent was busy.
Can I ask you a question? What's your thoughts on Kent?
I think he does things that are magnificent. Then he'll do things that will go, oh, come on, you could have done better there. I still think he's finding his feet.
I think he's one of the most industrious players I've seen for a long time. I like his bravery. I just think he overcooks it.
Yeah.
He tries to take on that one extra man too many for me.
Yeah, but
you know his general play and his workload, I think I like him a lot.
Yeah, see the fact that young kid's getting a run in the game, Bill. Let's not forget, this is a kid that's came up playing 21s. Development stuff, just basically coming for the same as what we have had up here, right? So he's not had a lot of first team football. He's playing in front of 50,000 people.
Chuck, I really like him.
And I'll not forget when the manager came in really early in his tenure when he got the job, saying, there's players here that have got to get to know what it's like to play in front of this crowd. They're very, very intense. Want to see Rangers win every game, same as every supporter wants to see their team win. So I think, Bill, he's the type that Steven Gerrard will work with him, give him a run. Obviously now on the back of Jamie Murphy going about a long time. Now what an opportunity he's now got, Ryan Kent, to be the number one winger, because the young boy Middleton come on last night and zipped by the right back a few times. Again, a couple of crosses could have been a bit better, play yourself into the game. But I think Ryan Kent is the type of player that he came up for the perfect reason to come up on loan, to play first team football in front of big crowds, to make mistakes and learn from them, and get coached properly with the right people. And that club right now fits the bill for that boy, because if he's not doing it right, I'm pretty sure Steven Gerrard's the type that will go over to him at the training ground and go, Ryan, I think we should be doing this. And listen, when the manager's coming to talk to you and things are going well, you absorb it easier, Bill, and you learn from it, and I think the wee winger will kick on and get better.
I like him. I just think sometimes he's trying to impress too much by taking that one extra man on.
Wingers are like that.
Absolutely. But his workload, I think, is colossal. I love the grit. He's not scared.
And here's
he gets
one.
his foot in, he challenges, he chases, really but his work effort is phenomenal.
So it doesn't really get a lot of hand last night for John Flanagan, because the left side for Flanagan, for me, is great when you're sitting in, it's dogged, it's away from home.
Side.
Right, it's, for me that's an away from home one, innit? Where you're no asking him to go and create. Now, Barisic in there with Ryan Kent will be the same as Candias and Tavernier.
Yeah.
They'll work together, that wee tandem, in, out, back, forward, work together. And last night, as much as John Flanagan, nobody goes by him, it's always looking just to bring it into his right and whip it in. And he put a couple of decent balls in as well. Flanagan's fantastic. You get what you see with him. I like him. He's really settled into it. But I think sometimes to go beyond on a night where you're going to have the ball, to ask Flanagan to go and create becomes a bit difficult. But Rangers predominantly play down the right anyway.
But yes, they do. But here's the thing. I think they will switch it and switch it more effectively. If they go through into the group stages, which I expect them to, I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I expect Celtic to go through and I expect Rangers to go through into the group stages. But then Barisic comes back into play.
Sure.
And you will see Rangers switch their play from side to side that way.
Yes.
Because there's no point in having Barisic with the quality that he's got if you don't allow him to go on those runs and put the ball in the way that he's capable of doing. The problem I have, and it's the same problem I have with Jamie Murphy. Jamie Murphy goes for the byline very few times, and the reason he does it is because he knows that when he gets there, he's either got to cut back where there's two men then round him, or he's got to use his standing foot to try and cross the ball, which is uncomfortable for anybody that's right-footed.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's the same with Flanagan.
Yeah.
Flanagan bombs down the wing, and he's either got to cut back in or put it backwards, or he gets to the byline and it's his standard that he has to try and put it over with. I know players going to feel comfortable like that, especially when you're playing in a team like Rangers just now, where everything counts.
The only player I've ever seen that was equally comfortable playing it, he was playing it right back, but he was predominantly left-footed, was Philip Lahm when he played so many times for Germany.
But he was predominantly, but you've used the word predominantly. It could hit with any pen.
Yeah, preferably to cut it back and start things with his left or whip it in. He would put the odd one in with his right, but he was cute and he was a good player. I'm using it to the extreme, but saying where players are a wee bit more comfortable than others. So, it's a massive dilemma to bring Barisic back in. I think he'll play at Motherwell purely because Rangers will go at Motherwell, where I think he rates Flanagan that much. He knows him, he trusts him, he likes him. He's gave him a platform to get better and get himself fit and into the team. And it'll hurt Steven Gerrard leaving John Flanagan out. That way where, listen, it's a big call. It's a big call, the left-back situation. Then, of course,
you could move Barisic forward one.
You could, absolutely, and keep that right, because he'd be equally comfortable going at their right-back. But I meet Sandy Walker in Clarkson today. I think I must have met everybody all the village today and round and about the place. And he thought that when Lee Wallace on the bench last night, she said, why just not play Lee Wallace? I said, it was a big ask to come right in a European tie. He needs games. It looks as though he needs games to get that sharpness back. But there's another wee agenda for us. Lee Wallace is obviously doing it in training. He's doing it in closed-door games for all what's going on behind the scenes with SFA and Rangers, blah, blah, blah.
Well, Steven Gerrard today in the press conference saying very, very quickly, look, whatever comes of the outcome of the inquiry, either the club's got to eat it or Lee's got to eat it, and then we got on with things. That
shows a bit of strength, I think, the manager's part, and he's basically washed his hands with it because it's happened when I'm not here. If he's good enough, I'm going to play him, and he's probably told the board that, Bill. Yeah. He's told the board that.
Hegs, how you doing?
Good evening, Bill. Good evening, Hugh. I'm fine.
Good evening, Mr. Hegarty.
I'm just listening to you here talking about the Rangers, and I just think they're going from strength to strength at the moment in time, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, Higgs. They're very difficult. That's 10 without loss. Couple of draws in there.
Never been behind yet.
That's a big mark, isn't it?
I think it's 8 clean sheets or 7 clean sheets as well.
Goalie made a couple of decent stops last night.
He did again.
Does it simple. Made a great save the first half. Stood in big and was tall.
I tell you what, though, between the goalie and Golson, everybody in that 18-yard box at set pieces must have earache.
Yeah.
Because the two of them are screaming, and what happens is McGregor's telling Golson what he's seeing, and Golson's telling everybody else what he's seeing.
It's a very similar Dave Neary, Paul Hegarty situation, I think.
I wish.
One was technically very, very good. Another one was just blood and snotters, right, Bill?
Didn't names. Come on, name names.
Shut up, snotty beak.
Shut up, snotters. Big snotters, Hegarty. You know where I'm coming from.
David Neary was Franz Beckenbauer.
Well, that's where I was coming from, yes. But, Katic will be the one that will go and win it, but equally can play like yourself, and Golson, will go and win it. Dave Neary will go and win it, but technically he wants the ball at his feet. That's what I'm saying. And he's played that long together. That's what Rangers have missed over there. A partnership that they can build from the back, pull the right back in when they need to do it, pull the left back in, they look a unit, and a goalie doing his job simple and good behind him. That's been missing for a long time.
Hegs, let me...
I've said it numerous occasions, Hugh. See if you've got a solid foundation from your goalkeeper and your defenders.
You've got a chance.
Then see from midfield to up front, you can allow do whatever they want, but just what Bill and yourself were saying, the number of clean sheets that Rangers have, see the longer you go on having clean sheets,
a good run,
the more and more confident you are in knowing that you're not going to get beat and you're going to win, not comfortably, but you're going to maybe win 1-0 or 2-0, what have you. And in my case, see, defenders were like strikers. See, if you never lost a goal, you didn't play particularly well. You had done your job to a certain extent. That's how I see it, and at the moment in time, that's how I see Rangers.
Yeah. Hegs, I was saying to Hugh earlier on, my feelings, it's the same as yours on centre-backs for the most part, and that is they get it, they get rid of it. And I said, when you watch the boy Katic, how well he does it, it shows you how effective it can be when done properly.
Undoubtedly, if you've got a bit of composure on the ball and you've got good vision like what Katic has got, then it's great. But it's like everything else, Bill. Sometimes you've just got to, Rosette because you're not sure where you're positioned or you're under a bit of pressure. And then you can argue and moan as grown as you want after the game. But see, building up from the back, that's great if you're 3-4-0 up, and you see it week in, week out, not just in Scotland but more so in the Premiership of England. It just absolutely rails me seeing defenders playing their passes along maybe their 18-yard box, or sometimes like say John Stones playing it in their 6-yard box. We, Jim, would have kittens if that happened now.
A very good performance last night again, guys, by Ryan Jack, middle of the park, just getting it, keeping it, passing it, going in and tackle strong, nice wee touches, just generally, looking like a wee player now that the coaching staff have grabbed and got him working, and asking him to do things that they think he's capable of doing. I think he must have came last year wondering what's happening, Paul, in the back of what was happening with Murty. Young move, big move for the young boy, massive move. Met him a couple of times in Bothwell, and he's a lovely boy, the boy Ryan Jack, and he gets sent off and then he gets injured and then new managers come in and out, and a very turbulent start to his Rangers career, but a player that now looks the part in the middle of the park, Paul.
Hugh, I think initially he got really frustrated.
Yes.
Just what you were saying,
yep.
He got sent off and he was moaning and groaning, and he's probably realised that Gerrard's bringing in very good players, so he's under pressure to produce, and just what you were saying, produced it last night. But I just thought initially when Ryan went to Rangers from Aberdeen, I just thought he got really frustrated and got caught up in the game instead of thinking what he's good at, doing what he's good at, and then getting on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to agree. Big Lafferty comes
Shuggy,
on as
just
well.
Before you do, Ian Russell has sent us a video, and obviously I can't look at the sound just now because we're doing this, but it just says, "At your service, Shug," and it's the goal from last night in Lithuania, and I suspect, and if you go on, Lewis, to our Facebook feed and play it, you can confirm whether it's what's the goalie doing, Shug. But I have a funny feeling that's what it is, from Ian Russell.
Yeah.
At the Rustler.
Heggs, we got a bit of stick. I got a bit of stick last season. I don't know if you remember it or not, about the long ball that Scott Brown played in between the centre back, Dembele, and Big Westcombe running out his goal. But it was such a great ball that Scott Brown played. Everybody's watching what was going on with Scott Brown. I'm going, that's a good ball. And all I could see it in the corner of my eye was the big goalie running out. So picture the scene. Rangers are in command at Ibrox. Big Westcombe's running out as like the mad goalie, and I've shouted, "What's the goalie doing, Tam?" So of course Celtic go on and win the game 3-2, and it went unbelievably well. It did go viral, but in the west of Scotland, all the Celtic fans were loving it. There was T-shirts,
Hegs, there's
mugs,
T-shirts,
everything.
there's mugs, there's all sorts of "what's the goalie doing, Tam?"
And it's all over the place. So now I've suggested tonight, what was big Craig Gordon doing last night? What was he doing? So now the tables are turned, on the Celtic fans. The fact that we can now get a laugh at it. The fact that all in the garden isn't Rosie there. Just quickly go back to Louis Smith's point earlier on you were talking about.
Oh yes, the refereeing last night.
Yeah, refereeing. 17 fouls or infringements, call it what you want. They stopped the game and there was a few wee meaty ones. It took him 17 times to blow his whistle before he booked a UFA player. It was unbelievable. And it was just before half-time.
Yeah, Ian Russell, he's created the video. What's the goalie do?
Well, I want some rights on that, Ian, by the way. There must be a wee dipper in there for Burnsy. I've suggested that. Let's set it up and let's charge them maybe about a pound a goal.
So, Hugh, at this moment in time, you're a happy man, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I'm happy. I've had a bad week, but that's another story, but I'm just happy.
No, but I'm talking about Rangers.
Yes.
You're happy with what's happened with Stevie Gerrard and Gary McAllister coming in and doing what they've done for Rangers is fantastic, isn't it?
He comes into the press room and Robert's in early doors, of course. Bill, the boy that works for Rock Sport, what's his name?
Oh, Bob Smith.
Bob's the Bob's in there.
But do you know what Bob's like? Bob's like a Rottweiler.
He's like a rash. He's like a rash.
He's all over you.
He's
like
all over
a rash.
like a rash. And Stevie's actually.
Bob gets interviewed.
Stevie Gerrard's actually looking for Bob now.
Aye, Bob gets interviews with people that nobody else gets interviews with. Bob's just straight in there.
in Heggs last night, the guy does the stuff for Bill, and then he was in with another one, and then big Gary Ralston, for the record, just jumped in with the third one as if to say, haul you, it's my turn now. So it was good in the press room, but he conducts himself so well, Stevie Gerrard, and comes in and again he uses the word commitment, organised, proud of his players, kept their shape, kept the ball. Yeah, we'd like to have been going with another goal, but he's no gave a goal away. Massive in Europe. Go there next Thursday. And I think they can score, Higgs. I would be amazed if they score 3, Paul. So if we score, we go through, I think.
Who are the equivalent to
they're 8th, Paul, in this moment in time in the Russian league.
No, they're 11th.
The 11th. John McDonald's stats good again. So, as far as it goes, somebody had said even a couple of hours like south of Moscow as well. So it's a bit of a jaunt. Getting there, deep south, whatever it is, getting a geography lesson.
It's 1,000 miles south of Moscow.
Well, there you are. There you go.
Hugh, is Rocksport sending you across there?
I'm expecting a call from Bill,
yes.
To be setting up my own wee commentary. It might be pretty biased.
Hey, listen, heed the ball. You know the last thing you want from me is a call, because you know what it'll say if it comes.
Well, listen, I'm available if there's anyone listening for Rangers TV and they're looking for a co-com, then I'm certainly up for it. But no, that's a long jaunt, I think. Is that a visa job for the Bears to get in there?
Yes, it will be.
It will be.
How quickly do that? Do you do that online and just get it accepted?
I should imagine that the process was started fairly quickly after the
draw,
the previous draw.
Yeah, well, I heard a few big hitters last night and the members saying they weren't going, purely just because of the hassle of it.
Well, the other thing is as well, of course, don't forget there's a 5-hour time difference. 4-hour time difference. They're 4 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, 4 o'clock kick-off here next week.
3 o'clock kick-off here, I thought it was.
Contradict one?
Well, it might well be, but I'll get my trusted producer,
I've heard 4 for an 8
Lewis, to have a look.
Local time in UFA.
I thought it was a 3 o'clock
Is the place
kick-off.
actually called UFA?
No, it's called something else.
You don't know?
And I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's quite a well-known place.
It was actually pretty quiet last night. They got off to a good wee bounce and the fans were up for it. Rangers scored.
3 o'clock kick-off next week.
Same to you and double it. Anyway, but, after second half, Paul, what I'm probably more concerned
Which means they're 5 hours ahead.
Why don't you shut up and let me talk to you, Paul?
Why don't you eat my shorts?
You're going to say something else here. I can think of better things to eat than your shorts, that's for sure. Listen, Higgs, I think...
Hey, if they had icing on them, you'd eat them sweet tooth.
The thing, the only issue we had, the only concern, I think, as a Rangers fan, was we didn't really ask questions of the big goalie last night, second half especially. Didn't give him a save to make, a serious save to make.
But he was rotten. I mean, if he is tested, and he was in the first half...
tested for what?
He was a bomb scare. Yeah,
he was. He wasn't comfortable, and a big lad as well, 6 foot plus, easy. 6'4", 6'5", that big goalie.
Was the Rangers fans, were they patient? Were they good?
They're always with them. At the end of the game, you can always tell. You know, they got a standing ovation at the end. They won 1-0.
Good.
But for me, he held back in the conference, and I think he was a wee bit disappointed that his team hadn't got a second goal.
Guys, come on, to be fair, if you're winning 10 games in the bounce, right, and you've kept 8 clean sheets and you've never been behind, the expectation level
I've told you before,
starts to drag you along.
They're adults. You would expect them to keep clean sheets. They're past that stage. I don't use that
You
phrase.
don't.
Clean sheet.
You don't keep clean sheets.
Break your leg in me. But no, seriously, I think I think they've done enough, Higgs. The 2 goals would have been fantastic. I think with Morelos,
Rangers can score over there.
Lafferty was quite busy when he came on. Lafferty looked fit, guys. You know how sometimes when you make a signing and you know they need to find.
He's been playing.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. That's right. He'll hit the ground. He'll hit the ground running, Paul. He'll hit the ground running, and he's another asset for just that wee bit different. Where I'll go and knock it. He won his first header. Rangers fans are ought to get a great reception, as you would expect.
Hugh was complimenting Bill on Wednesday evening when I just briefly came on air, saying his contacts and his forecast to Kyle Lafferty going to Rangers, which was probably about 2, maybe possibly 3 weeks now that he was going, was spot on.
Yeah, well, I think if the truth be told, Paul,
go on, spoil it.
No, if the truth be told, we think we too had heard what was going on, but I think he's a wee bit more privy to what's going on than me, and the fact that I'm there in match days and what have you, really that's the full stop.
You're steaming.
That's the full stop.
But Hugh, sometimes, when people are going somewhere to another club, sometimes it breaks down, and sometimes people are left with egg on their face, and sometimes you say, I wish I had said that, but...
I think that lots of times,
I remember meeting Craig Levine, of course. I think I told you he's at the back end of last season when Rangers were there.
Yeah, you did.
And it was big takes this to me. We hadn't seen one another for years, but you know what it's like when you meet players. Doesn't matter how long you've not been in one another's company. You always just take up where you'd left off. Bit of chat, bit of banter. He says, "What do you think of the game?" And I says, I was a bit disappointed in Hearts. He went, we were shocking, wasn't he? I says, I like Lafferty. Craig, he says he would score a few goals here, Burnsy, wouldn't he? And he says to me, he would score a few goals here, Burnsy. I went, you better believe he would.
Speaking of players that people don't see for a while, Paul, you will have the pleasure of the company of our very good friend Ian Ferguson tomorrow.
Oh, good.
I hear Holt is invited him up tomorrow to sign a ball or something that's
brilliant.
needing to be signed.
He was some boy. He was a good lad.
So Fergie, as we speak, is winging his way to Dundee, and he'll be at Tannadice tomorrow. So I said to him to say hello to you on my behalf, not on his behalf, because he'd say hello anyway.
Ian first came to United, right? The first 2 weeks he says, "Is this a running club?" He says, "Is this a running club, Paul?" I says, "No, it's a football club." He says, "When do we ever see the ball? What a goal scorer, what a really good player."
Great striking of the ball as well, wasn't he? And you probably don't recognise him the more, didn't he?
He was on with me last. He was on with me last night, Higgs, and
was he?
And I had to call him about something this afternoon because I'm seeing him on Monday, and he said I'm going up to Dundee, and he was saying that Holty had asked him to come up and.
Good.
And sign a ball that's from your guys' era, and he said he would be seeing you tomorrow.
I was at Hearts with Fergie. Obviously Rangers. I then moved to Hearts. Fergie went to Dundee United. Then he wasn't at United. Well, he was, but then we met at Hearts again, and we hated running. We hated running, and Fergie and I were always tailed off in the pre-season. And
to be fair to him, Hugh, like say, when he realised what it was all about,
he got fitter. He got fatter at Dundee United, Paul. He did. Dundee to start with, scoring all the goals, goes to Rangers. Didn't really happen. Scored a few great goals there. Then went to Hearts, and he did get fitter. Certainly, I think at Dundee United. But Fergie and I
what a difference when he was fitter, and not just on the park, but up top in the brain.
Yes,
the football
good lad.
Was fantastic.
We were always getting tailed off at the pre-season, getting laughed and all that. Pelters. Probably shared the same motor. That's probably why we were getting to say, we get lapped, and there were folk getting by, and honestly, there was old grannies getting by with their shopping trolleys, going by Fergie and I. It was embarrassing, but we got there in the end up. But Fergie's got great banter. He's always up to
good track.
Well, with a game of golf with him and Bobby Russell a few weeks back as well, and Fergie's. I always say Fergie, oh, shut all your eggs are on double yolk. Fergie.
Actually, I'll tell you something. I was surprised because he was playing at the Hearts golf day yesterday.
What was he?
And I said, well, hang on, because I said, was Burnsy no there? He said, no. And you know who was organising it? Remember Big Scott Wilson that does this stuff for us, comes on the show talking about Hearts?
Big trumpet.
It was Scott that was organising it. I was sure you'd have been there.
There's a deathly silence here, Bill.
You got his number.
Heggs, do you know who I feel like? Jim Bowen on Bullseye. Look what you could have won.
Speedboat. Got the speedboat at the top flat. See, next time you get him on when he's doing a match report, he's getting dogs abuse. Anyway, I think it was wet yesterday, so I didn't miss much, did I? If Fergie would have got his hair wet, he wouldn't have liked that, and I've obviously not got that problem. But here's one. Fergie will probably get an invite to Glen Eagles on the 5th of September, so I can't rub his nose in that one. So for the Rangers Day, so I like to get invited to golf days.
I wasn't being funny. I genuinely thought you'd have been there.
Yeah, I've not been at Hearts for a wee while, to be fair, so that's fine.
He was overlooked, Bill. That's what I can just say. Overlooked.
You know, and well, the thing is, you know, when you get a phone call maybe the night before, somebody's pulled out and you're getting pulled out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know that way. Who else is no gone? You know, one of them.
Listen, before we go on to the fixtures, I've got a tweet that's come in that I've got to ask you, so I'll ask you. What do you think the odds on Lafferty scoring on the 2nd will be? Asking me, Shuggy and Heggs.
Well,
it depends. It depends when it depends when he takes part.
Yeah, and then you've got to look at the vulnerability of Morelos and where he's going to be and what kind of frame of mind he's going to be. You know, chasing about, making calls because he's going to be up front and. Depends on what shape the manager plays, I think.
If he started with both of them, for me it'd be even money.
Yeah. I would think that Kyle could score. I think he's got big enough shoulders to burden the jersey and go and go and win it and go and score.
Plus the fact they'll remember what he did last time out when he was at Tynecastle and hit that half volley.
Yeah. No, I know what it's like to score big goals and play for big clubs. And I think he's a type of player. I'm happy to see that he's came fit, been playing. And by the way, you've got to really, give him a wee pat in the back as well, Paul. The fact that the speculation over the last few weeks really hasn't got to him. And Craig had said it had, but the performance week past Saturday, proved that wrong.
Right, listen, sorry, Paul, just before you go, because this is for you, this one. I know the answer, and you know the answer, but it's aimed at you, really. Because it says, Bill, can you ask Paul whatever happened to big Hamish McAlpine? Always remember he was one of the football cards I used to always get a doubler off when you bought football cards with that manky chewing gum.
Hamish is a great lad. He's retired. And he plays golf up at Ayr. Hamish is a really good golfer, single figures, likes Hugh, and he comes to do the hospitality on a Saturday with Hegarty.
Is he still chewing the chewing gum?
And we actually have Hamish on occasionally, Heggs, as well, to talk about Dundee United.
Great lad.
Heggs, does he still chew the chuddy? Does he still chew the chewing gum?
Not that I know of for play, because usually we're inside and we're talking to the punters and that. But no, but he played Hugh, yeah, he did. But no, Hamish is a great lad. He's actually looking really good because I think he just turned 70 there last year. And no, he's in good.
Has he still got that 1970 porno moustache?
Well, it's a wee bit better than what it was in the 70s. Hugh, just go back to see what talk about Kyle Lafferty.
Yes.
I think he's like a lot of players, more so now than ever before. He's more mature in all aspects, his life and his game and the way he goes about things.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the pennies drop for players, and I think he's one player over the last 18 months, he's realised what it's all about. Yeah. And I think he's matured really well on and off the park. And on the park, just what you're saying, the speculation with him possibly going to Rangers, for the last 6 months, it's never bothered him one bit, which shows how mature he is as a player and as a person.
Yeah, well, Bill obviously will no back me up that and saying the older you get, the more mature and slow you and I know he's looking at me that way. He's have to say what's happened to you, Shuggy. But no, yeah, I've got to agree.
Hang on, just before you carry on, what have I been through with you in the last 4 years? And you want me to back you up?
Hussies, wedding cakes, divorce cakes, lawyers, you name it, we've been there. So yeah, I know exactly. But no, it has got better, and I think, you know, it's like everything else. You know, he has got his personal life sorted out. He's doing all the right things.
He's a daddy now, with
more responsibility, and great to see. You know, and I don't know what the initial fee was. It was, you know, why are you making those eyes at me?
No, I've just.
So you were past that, carry on.
You can never get past that, carry on, Shug.
Oh, William, stop it. I'd heard 450 last night, but I don't know if that would be the right money or not. But higher, I don't know. Anyway, I think as pound goes, I think, yeah, it's a player there with the leanness of him, how fit he is. You know, his agility, good in the air, loves the club. You could get 2 or 3 good years out of big Hegarty, I was going to say. Big Lafferty.
And Hugh, I think as well, he's left Tynecastle, you know, I'm not saying they're blessing, but, you know, they're pleased that it's happened. But
correct.
I think the Hearts supporters as well have longed to Kyle Lafferty, and it will be interesting when Rangers do play Hearts. You know, I think he's one of these players. He's a likeable guy.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you've nailed it. Doesn't always happen. Players go back, get pelters, but I think he's a type that. No, I think he'll get the odd bit of stick, but as you do. But
he's still a rocket, but he just doesn't go so high into orbit these days.
That's right. I think you're correct. There was there's some great footage going about with his previous encounters with Scott Brown in Old Firm games and what have you, and that's going to be interesting to see how that comes along a week on Sunday. But no, I think Rangers fans have got the striker they wanted to play with Morelos. I think they're now looking at a centre back as cover for Katic and Goldson. I think they're overloaded in the middle of the park with midfield players.
I said that last night. I said I think Steven Gerrard is kind of playing the game a wee bit by saying with Jamie Murphy away, who is a miss, don't get me wrong, where he said we're a bit light. I don't see how you can be when you can move Barisic forward. You've got Andy Halliday, you've got Ryan Jack, you've got
but you're going to ask Barisic to play somewhere he hasn't played before, or if we don't know he's played there, you know. So he will go on one and play. He's a on the front foot type of player. So
Koulibaly is back in training today.
You could ask Tavernier to push on one as well and play with Lee Wallace at left back and play Flanagan at right back. So you've got options there with that kind of shape. So
and I think that tells you that the pool is a lot stronger than it was. Listen, guys, just when we're talking about players that have moved on and they leave places and go to other places and, you know, under a cloud or with blessing. My eldest daughter's partner, I was telling Hugh, Paul, was down in the Midlands this week on a course, and I picked him up from the airport last night. We were talking about the week that he had, and he said, I went to the Villa game midweek. He says, John McGinn is a god at Villa Park already. He said the fans love him. He said, but I can see why. He was absolutely magnificent. He said, for such a wee guy, the amount of fight and guile, he said he really was unbelievably good. He said, and the Villa fans just are up, you know, they're in uproar and raptures over him.
But that's only after 3 games too. Now,
that's right.
I think sometimes we underestimate our players as such, thinking, oh, we can't play in the Championship or we can't play in the Premiership, and because, you know, they're so high and mighty, they think they're the best. But there's like John McGinn, who's went from Hibs to Aston Villa, you know, and within what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he's a god there. And you know, he's the type of player that excites you, and he gives everything during the minutes. And he's just a terrier, but that doesn't surprise me because I think sometimes we undersell ourselves up in Scotland.
Yeah, good point, Higgs. Spoke to Simon Donnelly this morning, and he'd said that, can't he believe it, one of life's mysteries how Celtic managed to miss the boat with that one. And you know what will happen now? You know, there might be a change of ownership, or a change of management at Celtic in the near future, and they'll look at bringing John McGinn back up the road. I think eventually he will come back to Scotland.
There is no way Celtic will bring John McGinn back up the road if he keeps going the way that he's going at Aston Villa, because the price they would have to pay would not be a price that Celtic would consider.
They have missed the boat there big time. A player that they could easily have got for 3, moved on for, well, listen, if they're getting 7 for Armstrong, what would they got for McGinn?
All right, guys, let's move on. Before we do, just very quickly, because I don't like missing tweets that come in, a couple of ones. What I liked about Lafferty last night, he was talking to the team. Not often you see that from a forward. Sammy sent this in saying, I think Laff will get 15 to 20 goals per season. Bill, add that to Alfie's goals and it's looking good. Now we're going to move to those fixtures, and the first one we kick off with is Hibs against Aberdeen at Easter Road tomorrow. Paul, we'll start with you on this one.
Well, I think this is game of the day. You know, I think two teams are playing very well. You know, both teams got 4 points out of 6 in the 2 league encounters to begin with. Aberdeen had a wonderful victory last week in the League Cup, trouncing, and I think by all accounts, guys, easily beating St Mirren 4-0. And obviously the week before, going down Tens Park and beating Neil McCann's team 1-0. I think Aberdeen are like Hibs and Rangers. Have got a sort of something about them this year. Hibs, you know, away point against St Johnstone 2 weeks ago at McDermott, which did surprise me because it's always a difficult place to go to, and managing to win eventually against Ross County with a late goal, winning 3-2. So to me, guys, I think this is game of the day because you've got two teams, especially Hibs at home, and Hughes, like myself, you know, we sort of you know, rabbit on about Hibs, but I think they're really an exciting team to watch. I think Aberdeen will be sorely, the boy Scott McInnes will be sorely missed, but like everything else, it's up to whoever comes in, whether it's Hugh's favourite Considine going in from left back to centre back and maybe plugging the gaps. But I think tomorrow's game is going to be a cracker, and I think it's game of the day for me.
Yeah, I think by all accounts it was Hibs, you know, kind of got out of jail late on last week.
Well, I spoke to Stuart Kettlewell.
I heard you last night.
And Stuart was telling me that he was very pleased with his team's performance, the way they chased the ball down, the way they kept possession. Obviously unhappy that they didn't go through or they didn't get more out of the game, but very, very pleased, as you heard them say last night, with the team's performance.
Yeah, scored late on and got ourselves a 3-2 win. I think a big signing has been, and it's something that can maybe just come in under the radar, was young boy Stevie Mallon. It was at Barnsley, did really well at Dundee. He's went down there, I believe he's come up stronger, fitter, leaner, and will get fitter and leaner working with Lenny in the middle of the park. We know that. He'll work on the strengths, the ability he's got. He could possibly have just been a wee bit fitter at Dundee, but I think he's got older and had a wee stretch and got better. So Aberdeen, as I say, go to Hibs. It's always a big game. I think last year as well, there was a big ask as well. Can Aberdeen go to win at Hibs? And they didn't, and Hibs convincingly beat them. And you see how Hibs have started strong again, and that's minus the 3 big players, which is a fantastic pat in the back to what he's done and managed to shape his team with those 3 players no in it. You know, they'll no look as good, but I'll tell you something, they're still getting the results and still look strong. So I didn't expect Aberdeen to go and beat Dundee after seeing them against Rangers.
Not by 4.
No, not last week. The week before they went and nicked it with Guy Stevens scoring.
That's right.
4, I think, egg in the face time for me. I fancied St Mirren to the fact it was a cup game. They did well at Ibrox the week before. Aberdeen struggled a wee bit. I had a wee sneaky for St Mirren. I get a custard pie with that one, as we will do throughout the season. But that's a massive ask for Aberdeen to go there tomorrow. You know, the last time we seen them in the league, they were shocking against Rangers, sneaked a 1-0 at Dens, and they've turned over St Mirren. But to go to Easter Road is a different ballgame, Bill.
I agree with you. The only thing I'd say to you guys is the one thing that Lenny isn't happy with is his back 4.
Right.
And they have let goals in across all competitions.
When you think of it, as Aberdeen that potent up top right
well,
now?
I don't know. I can make a judgment on it, to be honest with you, Hugh, because when I saw them in week 1, the answer was no. But then they've beaten St Mirren 4-0 last week. And you've got to say, well, they've got some kind of striking power from somewhere. Is it the boy they brought in from Manchester United, James Wilson? Did he play? I don't know. Is he making a difference? I think if I'm going to give my result first, and you guys can fight it out between you. But my result, I'm going for a 2-2 draw.
I think it's going to be tight, Paul. There's always, there'll not be an out-and-out winner. Like there'll be a winner, but no one that'll win easily.
I'm not going to race away.
Run away with it. And I'm going to go Hibs to win 2-1.
Exactly the same. I think Hibs have just got a bit of better firepower than Aberdeen. Plus they're playing at home. I just think Hibs excite me because they've got people wide to take people on, get balls into the box. But I've got to agree with you as well, guys. I think defences tomorrow are going to be vital to make sure that they try and not give too much chances. Opposition. So I think Aberdeen have probably got slightly the better defence, but I just think Hibs have got a bit of firepower up top, and I'm going to go like say Hugh Bill with 2-1 for Hibs.
But in saying that, you're talking about Lenny complaining about his back four, and Aberdeen right now have got Mackay Stephen playing some good stuff on the left. If they do play Effie a wee bit exposed of a four, then there could be, some rewards.
But like both of you, I don't think there's much in it. I don't think there's a fag paper in it, really.
Well,
you've gone 2-1, you guys. I've just gone 2-2. I think there's goals in it, but I don't think there's a lot of goals for either side.
No, I think you're right. I think we've called it. That's my thoughts on it. But just as a if Mackay Stevens on fire and he's 1-1 with Effie Ambrose, there's only one winner for me there. Yeah. But then he's got to put it in the box for people to finish it.
Yeah, you're absolutely.
But he is getting a good run, Mackay Stevens, and he's looking better. I think he's a wee kind of. He's got to play, isn't he? He's got to be liked to be guys. A wee winger that's got to ever get cuddled and mollycoddled, and I don't think he's a player that would react to a real hard time for the fans and what have you. And I know he had a bit of drama last year as well. So
Hugh, you're 100% correct, because that's what he's like.
Right, there you go.
He likes her, likes it well done, and as you say, a cuddle.
Thought that, Higgs.
To be like that. He's a smashing kid, and see when he's on song, he's an excellent player.
Fire.
But like everything else, see if you can nullify him, then it's a typical sort of white player. He'll just drift out of the game.
Aye, thought so. Yeah, absolutely. Where are we, Bill? Kelly
against Hearts. You can start with this one, Shug.
Yeah, I watched the game last week. Kelly kind of huffed and puffed. Hearts get the one at Dunfermline. I don't think Dunfermline were far out the game. I think Hearts kind of nicked it late on, but generally, Kilmarnock, what I've noticed about Kilmarnock, Paul, is they've got so much fitter. They pass the ball quicker. They defend well as well at the back, even with Big Broadfoot still doing ever so well at the centre back. Brought the goalie in last week that they've got up on loan. Whether they bring in Jamie McDonald remains to be seen. Dicker in the middle of the park's a good player. If anything, would I say that Father Time has finally caught up in Big Boydie for me, guys? I really think that if Boydie really has a serious think that can he go another season. I really doubt whether he can. I think they struggled a wee bit up front. I think Rangers got it.
Is that because of last week, Hugh?
I just think so when I look at him. I think he's getting. Listen, I don't have no pop. Chris Boyce had a magnificent career, but he is getting big, Paul. I know he'll try very hard to watch his shape and how he goes about living his life, and I think he lives it well. He's a good, clean living guy. He likes a night like everybody else, but he's a good living guy. He's looked after himself. But I think they relied so much last season on Chris Boyd, and I think Chris Boyd's they're no lining up to come on the park. They're few and far between. Burkey did quite well. We guy was at Rangers. Chris Burke, he was busy. But for me, Dicker's the player in the middle of the park that makes things happen for them.
And you can't rule out Jordan Jones.
Jordan Jones is
always going to be a threat to anybody.
I think right now he's a type of player. I actually had said last week, the guy I was sitting next to, when Murphy goes off, I was surprised this week we have not been linked with Jordan Jones.
You have.
We have.
Yeah, right. You have.
Well, there you are. Wouldn't it surprise me if that happens. So I think that's a player that will definitely, or should interest Rangers. He's got great ability, can go by players, left or right, good strike of the ball, he's got that wee edge to him, he'll put his foot in for tackles as well. So, Kilmarnock have got good players, but suddenly Hearts, the start they've had, top of the pile, couple of wins, big boys, strong, playing on the front foot. Big Craig's got them all fit, couple of great results. They've got to go to Rugby Park, but again, now everything's getting highlighted about the 4G. Will Hearts want to go there? Will their big guys be able to be slick and turn about on the surface? That's another thing you've got to think about. The weather's to be nice tomorrow, I believe. So no, it's not going to be too slippy, I don't think. But Hearts, I don't think, with the size of them, the agility, and probably the lack of agility on that particular surface might be a wee bit of a leveller tomorrow.
Steve Clark saying, Heggs, just before you come in, that they haven't had any more injuries of a certain type or generally than any other team. So he says that this business about the playing surface is not something that he considers as legitimate.
Yeah, well, I must admit, I'm old school. I think football should be played on grass. Could you see Real Madrid or Barcelona playing on AstroTurf? No, you wouldn't. See, they wouldn't entertain that at all. And all the big clubs are not going to entertain that. I must admit, Bill, I'm old-fashioned, because any time towards the end of my career, playing in AstroTurf at Gussie Park, just opposite Tannadice, when we maybe do a training session, it was a nightmare. I know they've improved the surface over the last 10, 12, 15 years, but I hated it. You know, it's a completely different game. You've got to play the pass right to the guy's feet, because any either side of your colleague, the ball's going to run away for you, and he's no chance. I'm a great believer playing on grass, and just what Hugh was saying, you know, and I never gave it a thought. He was talking about Hearts being big and strong, which I knew, but he says it could be a leveller, and it could be a leveller against Kilmarnock tomorrow. I just feel playing in AstroTurf, not for me, Bill.
Well, I'm going to stick my neck out. I think purely on the surface that Kilmarnock are obviously more used to, you know, Hearts, but again, Hearts went and had a good result at Hamilton on it. But Hamilton's a better surface, so you know.
Well, it's a newer one and it's a higher grade one, I'm told.
Well, there you are. That I mean, I think about that. I just quickly thought about that result that Hearts got first game of the season. I think they went 1-4-1.
Yep.
So that might suit them. I don't know. Kilmarnock, I don't think are going to be as good. A couple of players just known the team that were there last year. And I think Hearts to keep the band rolling on. You know what I'm saying?
The
bandwagon rolling on. That's what I'm trying to say. The bandwagon rolling on.
Very troublesome.
I was trying to get that out there, right? It was hard, but you know what I mean. You built me out. The bandwagon rolling on.
That's not a first. Let's be honest.
I'm going to go for 3 wins in a row and then to win 2-0.
Okay, Heggs.
Well, I just think the Hearts top of the league, you know, they've picked up the 6 points out of the 2 games. I think they've just got enough in their locker to win, and I think it'll be really close. I think it'll be 1-0 Hearts.
All right, bearing in mind the tail end of the second half of the season that Kelly had when Steve Clark went there, the expectation level for Kilmarnock fans pretty high. They lost against Rangers last week, albeit in the Cup. If they lose against Hearts tomorrow, Kelly fans are not known for their tolerance. I had Cathy Jameson actually on the other night talking about Kelly, and I'm just wondering whether Kelly will have to reevaluate their expectation levels. Well, if they get off to a bad start, and I accept that part of it's in the Cup.
Yes, yeah. Well, listen, you know, there was a lot of good vibes coming out of Kilmarnock at the end of last season.
And rightly so.
Right? The fact that Stevie's come in, galvanised it, got them playing, fantastic finish, looked apart, but suddenly losing a couple of players. Now, that for me, there wasn't any marquee signings coming in. You know, Billy Bow was quoted in saying, you know, we're going to be looking at strengthening.
Quoted it saying we'll be putting together over the next 3 years a team that we're looking to win the league.
Why can we not win the league? Yeah. I think that was a big statement. It was Higgs like that one. He did, aye.
I remember you saying it, yeah.
Yeah, he did. You know, so I can't see him backing that statement up. When you've lost Malumba, who's still no got a club, as you said, at this moment in time, as far as we're led to believe, he's not anywhere. And Boydie getting a wee bit older. And kind of,
you've got to say that Jordan Jones is probably going to go somewhere.
He's their asset, Bill. He's their asset. He might be the bait to lighten up some finances, maybe to the tune of £350,000-400,000, where that is a lot of money for anybody in the Premier League, but it's a lot of money for Kelly, and that would be, good wages or a good signing on fee for at least a couple of players and add to his playing staff. Whether he's got someone to play on the left hand side, I think they probably worry about that when it happens, but get the money in. He'll want to lose him, but if the chairman says we need to sell him, Stevie, then there's only one winner, isn't there? It's the chairman. But yeah, I think the fact that Kilmarnock fans, I know, are a wee bit disappointed there wasn't a couple of big players coming in, and you just need to look at, and I know it's obviously well documented about players going from, Old Firm or Derbies or whatever, Hibs Hearts. But you just look at wee boy Shanklin, who's been quoted to go to Dundee right now. Kilmarnock could do worse than buy a player like that. You know what I mean, Paul? And they've got to be looking at bringing players like that, and maybe they can't go and spend.
I feel sorry for like Stevie Clark, Hugh. The manager makes a run from his own back for what he did last year, right? In my opinion, it was one. It could have won the manager of the year quite easily, right? But just what Bill was saying as well, expectation level from the fans.
Yes.
They've got to realise that they've got to take a sort of rain check. By the way, what Stevie Clark did last year was great. See if they get the same again. They've won a watch with the manager.
Yeah. But listen, let's not get in top here. Over the first 2 games, they've got 4 points. They've not lost a game. They lost to Rangers. Everybody's losing to Rangers right now. So that now suddenly is, not a major shock. It shows you how far Rangers have moved on very quickly.
I still think they'll be challenging top 5. Kelly.
Yeah, well, something. I think you might not be far away, because when you look at the start Hearts have got, Hibs are there, Rangers, Celtic and Aberdeen. Well, there's 5 I've gave you, innit? So, you're then looking at Kelly finishing above St Mirren, Hamilton, Livy, St Johnstone, Dundee, Motherwell. Yeah, I would say top 6, Bill. I think tops they would be happy to finish in. If Kilmarnock finished top 6, I think they'll finish the top of the other league, and I think they'd be happy with that. I don't think they could.
And with Kilmarnock's position, over the last 2 games, Rangers last week and Hearts this week, it's 2 tough fixtures to say the least.
Yeah, without a doubt, 100%. So there is a lot of rebuilding going on. There's a lot of momentum still in Kilmarnock. The fact that they've lost 3-1 at home, as I say, against Rangers, isn't a major, tragedy or catastrophe or whatever. So I think they will kick on. They'll become a better team than they have been over the past few years. Last year, great, but hey, second year syndrome. Can they kick on us again? Can they get better? I doubt whether they're going.
Still going for the Jambos then.
Going for the Jambos.
Okay, Paul.
1-0 Hearts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, listen, the next game's an interesting one, and I believe there's a bit of video coming through for me of Tommy Wright and Neil McCann coming in to do a joint interview.
I think, what happened last season with Tommy and Neil, you're going to get anyway.
The Rocky theme.
He usually puts that on for me and Murdo on a Monday night.
Listen, this is an interesting one, Higgs. Carry on. I'm hearing a lot of discontent at the moment from Dens Park about the manager possibly being a little bit irate and easy to ruffle in the dressing room at the moment.
Well, on the ground there, Bill, just before he gave us a phone, he was getting interviewed, and one of the questions was, "Are you under pressure?" And obviously, Neil said, "No, I'm not under pressure." You put yourself under pressure, but like everything else, expectations, and at this moment in time, Dundee are like Motherwell, bottom of the league with no points, and tomorrow's game, and it's obviously it is a Tayside derby. It's going to be a difficult game, and Dundee getting well beat last week by Hugh's old team here, United. Obviously there's been a lot of things being said in the press, and obviously to be fair to Neil McCann, he did say we were well beat by Ayr United. It's a massive game for both clubs, because St Johnstone have only got 1 point out of the last couple of league games, so it's a real tough game. I think St Johnstone do actually very well at home against Dundee in the recent past, guys, so I don't see any reason that St Johnstone are going to lose tomorrow.
Yeah, I think really the pressure is on Neil McCann, and I've said for years, I like players getting a wee bit back out the game, and sometimes he's got to be applauded for coming away from his media work and what he had with Sky and the way he came across, and met him on the gantry a few times, and it didn't strike me as if Paul we could go down into the dugout. I don't know why, and is it the fact that he technically not be getting it right, that his frustration is kind of overtaking that? That way?
Well, I spoke to somebody yesterday who's well in the know in Dundee, and they were saying to me that the inexperience of a manager is tested better and greater when they're not doing well than it is when they are doing well.
Yeah.
And he said the one thing that's coming out at the moment is that he's starting to be quite rigid with the players. In terms of not kind of, he's no his happy-go-lucky self. He's starting to kind of snarl a wee bit.
Suddenly, Bill,
allegedly.
Yeah, we're hearing that for ex-players and what have you, and I think we see that on the touchline, and he's fell out with players and told managers they weren't welcome and all this stuff, and I was told me it wasn't welcome at Dens Park. Am I right in saying that? Yeah, so it's amazing, Higgs, what a win does. It's amazing if they go up there tomorrow, come 4:45 Saturday night, they're not expected to go, they're not exactly going
What happens if it goes the other way though, Hugh?
If it goes the other way, they're under pressure already, 3 games in. That there is no doubt. Whether they get the sack after 3 games would be a big call by the Dundee chair.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so.
By all accounts, Hugh, and Neil's said it on numerous occasions, they have been playing well, but the bottom line is they've not got anyone sticking the ball in the net. Likes Moraz and people like that. And if you go for Shankland, which obviously I think they had put a bid in for Lawrence Shankland, and it fell through, then you're going to find it difficult to try and get points on the board.
Yeah.
But by all accounts, they have been playing well. But what I would say, St Johnstone got a great result last week against Queen of South, because that was a tricky tie.
Yeah,
that was a real tricky tie. With down to Palmerston and for Tommy the 4-2 victory, and by all accounts Tony Watt scored a couple of goals, and he looks to me as if he's settled in quite quickly, and hopefully he can get back to the form that he showed many years ago with Celtic.
Got him coming on next week, so we'll have a chat with Tony about that. Excellent. But here's one.
No, just quickly, can I say something on Neil McCann? I think it looks rather dodgy for Neil McCann. As the manager of Dundee, if they don't back him and go and buy Shankland, and I think that is why they've no went and done it. I don't think that they're going to see long term. I think the fact they'd have went in already to help him, buy him, to get them out the mess, and I don't think they can trust them.
That's a valid point.
I think that's my feeling about that transfer.
What happens if he gets a result the morning, then Hugh, and he gets the 3 points, as you say?
That might swing at Higgs. That is amazing what a couple of wins does, but they don't look like winning, Higgs, and that's the thing.
I always get amused when managers say we've been playing well but we're not winning. It's the same as you dafty football people say we were the better team even though we get beat.
Couldn't put the ball in the net.
Yeah, the object of the game is to score more goals than your opponent, and if you don't do that, you're not the better team for me.
Well, I think that's in my thoughts, that if they're 100% behind Neil McCann right now, and they'll be tentatively looking at it, and I'm not saying they'll be close to pushing the button and bringing someone else in, but he's made it clear he needs a striker. We've got a striker on fire in the Championship, £200,000-300,000, a lot of money to Dundee. It's a lot of money to get wrong. It's a lot of money to get wrong, then sack the manager, bring a new manager in who might not fancy Lawrence Shankland. So, I don't think Dundee want to put their eggs on the one basket here. I think they want to look at it, and a couple of wins, well, I'll tell you what, that's 6 points we've got out of 4 games. If you win your next 2, let's go and get the boy Shankland. But he's got to win a couple of games before he gets the striker, I think, for me.
Did you give me numbers yet?
I'm going to go. No, I haven't, because I've not got my pen tonight. But it's in my head, as you know what I'm like. I'm that knowledgeable. I'm going to go St Johnstone 2, Dundee 0.
I'm surprised you remembered who was playing. That's very impressive.
To keep the band ragging, bow.
The ran roggening. Round and round the rugged rock, the rugged rascal ran. Higgs.
I'm going to go for 1-0 St Johnstone.
Yeah, I fancy the Saints tomorrow. I do.
Okay, all right. Let's go to St Mirren against Livingston, and the saga of Livingston just keeps going on and on and on. Gary Holt appointed this.
Did you have him on, yeah?
Well, I spoke to Holt a couple of weeks ago, and I tried, and I actually, here's a funny thing. Everybody had gone with the story on Wednesday, I think it was. It was Wednesday that Holt had been appointed. So we phoned him. And he couldn't get us off the phone quick enough, and he said, It's not been confirmed. I think he thought we were the chairman phoning him to tell him he had the job.
All right.
So he didn't come on. He said, I don't want to come on because there is nothing to tell you. Nothing's definite. Nothing's been confirmed. But when I do, I'll come on and all the rest of it. Said today he's not interested in whatever the story is about Kenny Miller going.
Yeah, good.
And that's, I think, a
positive.
very wise thing for him to say and a very wise thing to do.
Him.
The only thing I'd say about Holt is before Kenny was appointed, he was on with us, he spoke to us, and he said he was desperate to get an interview for that job and thought he could make a difference going to Livingston Football Club. I asked him about the inheritance of his own of the backroom team and everything. He says it doesn't stop me from making my mark.
Yeah, I think you're right. They go to Paisley tomorrow. St Mirren, a couple of bad defeats recently. Aberdeen and Rangers a week before got off to a good start, beating Dundee. And Livy drawing with Celtic. Lose to Celtic, drew with Kelly, and into the third game now. New manager, who would ever have thought that as quickly? No, players have got to dust themselves down, and Gary was just desperate to get back in the game and bring a freshness. Somebody that wants to make their mark in the game. They tell me he's a decent coach, good with players, played at a good level. He was a winner himself, won the cup with Kelly, knows what it's like to win silverware, knows what it's like to be a winner. No everybody appoints it, have won things as players. He has. So, I think it was a no-brainer of a fit to bring someone like that in. And I think he'll be quite happy, as his first game, they've got a wee chance to go down and have a wee go against it. And who I thought did well against Rangers week past Sunday, surprised with performance last week. So that is a leveller, that one, because I don't think Livy will take a lot of spankings, Bill, especially not tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
I think they're a team where they'll surprise a lot of pundits, a lot of predictions, a lot of coupons will be up in the air with Livy this year. That's a team probably you just want to leave alone. If Gary Holt goes in and installs what Big Hoppy had and add a wee bit more, I think they'll do okay, because again they've got another wee league of their own down there, especially right now with Dundee. You would think that Hamilton, possibly maybe St Mirren come the end of the season, are going to be roughly down in that area anyway. But I don't think Livingston will be fearful going through to St Mirren tomorrow, guys. I don't think they will.
Paul?
I know you've spoken about it, but I've not heard you. But could you have realised and recognised that what happened to Kenny Miller at Livingston, Bill?
Do you want the honest truth, Higgs?
Yes.
I predicted he'd be gone by Christmas for the same reason. Yeah, for the same reasons. And I'll tell you what those reasons are. And I'll tell you now, these are purely my thoughts. I have no information on this except John Hughes. Yogi was on with me during the week, and he didn't miss and hit the wall, and was very disparaging about the fact that Kenny had no power. He wasn't making decisions on players coming in. Yogi was talking about David Martindale and his role and all the rest of it. And my thoughts when Kenny Miller took that gig, and I'm being absolutely honest with you, was that it wasn't going to last, simply because I thought Kenny thought he could go in there. This is my thoughts, nothing else. I thought Kenny Miller went in thinking, I can get in there after a month or so, maybe 6 weeks, when they see how I do things, what I know, my experience, my knowledge, my value on the park, my value off the park, I can approach them and say, I want to bring in a number 2. And it was never going to happen. And my worry is for Holty as well, that everybody will go into Livingston with the best of intentions, thinking, if I can make a change here and show what I'm worth, maybe I can just finagle another number 2 or another coach that I trust and know in with me, and they're going to hit a brick wall every time.
Why I asked that, Bill, was because it was in the morning, and I was watching the Sky Sports News, and here it comes along the bottom. Kenny Miller has left Livingston, and I know you should never be surprised in football, because nothing should really surprise you anymore. But that just knocked me off for 6, because I couldn't believe that happened. Because he's had 7 games at Livingston, and he's won 2, I think, drawn 3 and lost 2, and he's done really well. And for this to happen so early in the season, it just bemused me no end.
I had a chat with one of his pals last week, a guy that knows him very well, and he knew I was on fishing for information before I come on Monday night with Murdo on the back of what had happened with Livingston. And I couldn't believe it when I'd heard some of the things that were allegedly going on, and I will say allegedly happening during matches. And one particular match, there was a substitution made during the match that Kenny Miller didn't sanction. Right? Whilst he's on the park. So it comes from the backroom staff at Livingston and Kenny Miller being on the park, and the last thing the manager is going to run over and stop the substitution because it just looks carnage and it looks as though you're disorganised. So I think that was then internally dealt with, but I think the bad taste in the mouth of Kenny Miller inheriting any backroom staff that he had never met in his life before, hadn't heard anything about, wanted to work with his own boys. I think that just was just I think it was just a match no made in heaven right away.
Yogi said very clearly that he believed, and Yogi had been in working with Kenny at Livingston for a couple of weeks.
All right.
And he said very clearly, if the boy Martindale had his badges...
In what capacity?
I don't know. He didn't say. He was just doing some coaching or something with Kenny.
All right.
But he'd been in there he'd been working with Kenny for a couple of weeks.
He said if the boy
Martindale had his badges, he'd be the manager. Now, for me, the situation is, if he's not got his badges, then he's not qualified to be the manager.
Very strange. This is a guy that I've never met at Livingston, the boy Martindale.
Yeah, David Martindale.
Who seems to be really well in there. I don't know what goes on or what has went on, what will go on and what is going on. It's another assistant manager that Gary Holt's got to work with and got to go on with. And Big Gary's a big honest boy, you can tell that. He's a big honest boy, and let's hope they work well together. It might happen, it might no, but I think the boy Martindale has got a lot more clout than people think there, and has certainly got the backing of the chairman. So it's a strange situation when you see an assistant manager being able to hold on to his job through continuous managers coming and going. They're the ones that usually go, well, if he goes, the manager goes, Higgs, the assistant usually.
But here's the thing, if we're to believe the rumours, and allegedly that the power that David Martindale has, then he's making decisions about the team, about players that come in, about substitutes that are made allegedly, and managers are paying the price for it.
Well, what makes you think Gary Holt's going to change that then?
Well, I don't think he is, but I think that managers are going in there thinking, if I can get in there and show them what I can do and make my mark, and that's what I think Kenny Miller thought.
And of course, Kenny Miller being the type of guy he is, he's fiery, he's quick.
Oh, Kenny Miller will not sit and bite his tongue and let these things happen. No, there's no two ways about it.
I think that's probably where the problem has been, guys, that Kenny goes in and the type of player he is, he's been a winner all his life. He's never really... Well, he's not really had to answer to anybody because he's always done the business on the park. He's been out and played. Suddenly now he's a player manager to make decisions. And you can see his point of view, want his own backroom staff there. If you go in there, you want guys, as Higgs will know better than me, you want guys in there.
Shug, stop, because it's easier than that, mate. It really is. If you're the manager and things don't go right, you're the one that'll carry the can for somebody else's decisions.
Yeah, well, listen, it's not a case that we told you so. We kind of knew that. I can't understand.
We all knew. You and I discussed it, Murdo, and you and I discussed it.
It wasn't the right gig to take, Bill.
It was the wrong gig, but at the same time, we knew that it would come to tears. We gave it till Christmas. We were wrong with that. But you see, when it happened, Higgs, you asked me, was I surprised? Not in the least.
No. See, living up in Dundee, you don't really get the things that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it's just unusual. And I must admit, I know you shouldn't be shocked in football, but I was, because I think Kenny Miller was doing a great. But I'll go back to what Hugh was saying, and rightly so. You usually bring your own backroom staff in so that you know the way that you work as a manager or as a coach, and you sort of dovetail together. And that's why you bring your own people in, because you know each other inside out.
There was no way that Kenny Miller, for me, guys, was first choice at Livingston when it hit the skids with Big Hoppy. There's no way, because it fostered on, and he wasn't. I think we mentioned it one night. Kenny Miller would be quite a good fit there, and we probably didn't sit down and think about it, because thinking he'd have went in on the back of bringing his own backroom staff in. But Kenny Miller's still a very fit boy. According to the press tonight, Dundee and St Mirren are desperate for his signature. He plays up front. He's busy. He's quick. He's got a few quid. He doesn't need the drama. So why take the Livingston job? job. A club that have never been stable for long and weary. Heggs knows what we're talking about. A club that's not got any major investment. A club that's got up that weren't expected to go up. So if they're not expected to go up, right, that tells me they've not got their house in order right away. But the flip side of it, as Heggs said, Kenny had them organised. You know, as a player, he can only do so much. He had them organised.
Let me ask you this, though. If he wasn't first choice, who would have been first choice? And if it was an experienced manager, let's say Jim McIntyre, would Jim McIntyre have gone in there under those circumstances?
No, I don't so.
That's the whole point.
You're right, because these are the guys that's probably no got out, Higgs, that have maybe been down the pecking order before Kenny Miller, who have went in, and that's been the deal with John Ward. These guys are staying, and these other managers are saying, no, I'm not wanting the job then.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's the way it looks right now. Because Kenny Miller, as much as he's fiery and he's quick and he's opinionated, he wouldn't intentionally went out through there to walk away after this length of time.
Of course he'd never.
So something's lightened him, his flame, and he's went, to hell with yous. I'm not putting my name against this. I want nothing to do with it. And you know something, when you look at it, it's been a brave call by Kenny Miller to do what he's done. He's stood up, he's went, you know something, I still want to play. I want to be at a club that I want to run because I'm the guy.
And that appreciates me.
Exactly. So
listen, guys, before we go on and we get the scores on this very quickly, because I don't want to miss it because it's on the Twitter feed, there is a documentary, and I'm going to quote now. So that's the Tommy Burns film, complete and on its way to BBC Alba.
Okay.
So if you want to see a documentary on the late, great Tommy Burns, held in high esteem on both sides of the Old Firm divide and across Scottish football. Apparently it's coming on BBC Alba soon. It's now been completed, and keep your eyes open for it.
He's probably one of the players that dovetailed with Rangers and Celtic. You know, he was well liked by both sides, even though he played for Celtic against Rangers. And for the 90 minutes guys, it was attrition. But you know, I met him on numerous occasions, and one funny guy.
Yeah, he was a brilliant guy. He was my coach at Kilmarnock when I left Hamilton with Kelly. He was there, and I played against him in numerous Old Firm games. Great banter. Tam was a type of player. I think I've told you before. Tam would sing the Celtic songs during the game. When he scored, and obviously he knew what I was getting. When Rangers scored, he was getting it back, pelters in his face, and he would laugh at me. Then he became my manager, of course, at Kilmarnock, and we had many fallouts, many fisticuffs, but he's the type of guy when we went on to business and we wanted him there, you know, him and Starkey were all there for me, and he was good with my wife at the time, my first wife I may add, and he was just such a brilliant man, and one of the few managers that put a fear of life in you, fear of death in you. Honestly, he was mental when he became a manager, but what a top bloke, top man.
He is a top bloke.
Yeah. Give me your thoughts on the scoreline for St Mirren against Livy.
I'm going to sit the fence with that, Higgs. I'm going to go 1-1.
Exactly the same, 1-1.
See what I mean? Thanks.
Okay.
See what I mean?
All right. Let's move on to Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, this has been shrouded in a little bit of controversy before it even gets to the game.
Yeah, no wonder.
Peter Hartley's badly timed comments and in poor taste comments about the Cardoso situation when these teams played last season. He's since apologised for that, but the SFA are looking at disciplinary action for bringing the game into disrepute, I'm told. And I was saying to Hugh earlier on, the night before these comments came out, Keith Lasley was on, conducted himself, as you would think by Keith, impeccably, was nothing but complimentary about Rangers and about how well they'd improved, made the point that they would be in their faces, that they would be chasing down everything, and felt good going into the game. And I just think it was an unfortunate, I'll use the expression, and ill-conceived error of judgment by the captain to come out and make such irresponsible comments.
You don't do these things, Bill. You know, that's
professional
silly.
Courtesy, Heg, should stop you from doing it.
Well, you know, what happens if you had a broken nose, you had a bad injury, and somebody sort of ridicules you. You wouldn't be happy with that. So for the grace of God, go one of these ones. So no, it was rather silly on the players' part. All you can sort of say is, well, make sure it doesn't happen again, because obviously I think maybe, as you say, the SFA are going to deal with that. But no, you don't do or say things. It's uncalled for.
Tell me your thoughts on the game potentially.
I just think the way Rangers are playing, I've actually got 3-1 here, and I'm saying to myself, Rangers have only lost a goal in Donkey, so I'm going to go for 3-0 early doors. But I just feel the way Rangers are playing, whether it's home or away, they've got tons of ability. Their attitude's great. Hugh will tell me probably more than most. They're big in confidence. They're running over the top of teams. And to be fair, Motherwell aren't doing particularly well. They're bottom of the league alongside Dundee, respectively. And they're really, at this moment in time, really having a tough time. I just feel there's only going to be one winner, even though it's at Fir Park. And Fir Park, on many occasions, is a fortress. So when Celtic and Rangers do go to Fir Park, they're in for a tough time. But I just think the way Rangers play at the moment, and the way Motherwell's playing at the moment, there's only going to be one winner, and that's Rangers 3-0.
Yeah, Motherwell got their wee season trying to get it started last week, winning at Livingston 1-0 in the Betfred, which would give them a wee bit of confidence. But for me, Peter Hartley's, he set it up for Rangers here. I think, obviously, I don't think the manager will need to say too much. I know Cardozza's no part of the club anymore, but still, he will get absolute dog's abuse there on Sunday. It's tight and frantic at the best of times at Fir Park, and when a captain comes out, just showed a lot of inexperience. I think he was just made captain from I think the boy Hugh in the summer. So he's grabbed the armband. He'll learn from it. He retracted his statement on the back of what he had said. It was just the way he sneered and laughed about the kid and him having a laugh when the boy had broke his nose. That effectively finished Big Cardossa's career there. He never kicked on again for that. So, the demise of his career by a really flying elbow by Ryan Bowman was really over the top. It was assault. It was a terrible challenge, and something that the captain of Motherwell should have boxed a lot clever and went, listen, it was a meaty challenge for Ryan. Words to that effect. We don't want to see anybody getting injured, especially at our level, blah, blah, blah. And we wouldn't be talking about what we're talking now if I spoke that way. So, the boy Burrows would have been upset about it as well, the chief exec. The manager would have been upset. As you say, Lasley, a bit of class, would have been humiliated about it. Guys that know the club and respect Rangers. So for me, Rangers go. I think they might rotate a little bit. I think players will be juggled about a little bit. I don't know what his shape's going to be. His personnel will change. Barisic will come in for sure. And will he start with Lafferty? Maybe give wee Morelos a seat in the bench. I think Lafferty will play on Sunday. I think it's tailor-made for him to go there and really, really get a buzz off the crowd. Middle of the park looks as though it's looking after itself. Give Jack games and keep him playing. Koulibaly, he might come back in. So suddenly, as you said just 5 minutes ago, the squad looks pretty strong. So I don't think it matters right now who plays for Rangers in the first 11. I think they're capable of winning football matches.
But Hugh, when you're a player and you're playing on the winning side, the last thing you want to do is for the manager to say, by the way, Hugh, I'm not putting you there, you're on the bench.
Yeah, I know, Higgs, but I think what he'll say is, we had a tough game last Sunday at Kilmarnock on the 4G. We then had a tough game in Europe. We've got to go to Russia on possibly, I think they'll fly out Tuesday, Higgs. I think they'll go to Russia because it's a 7-hour flight. Yeah. So I think they'll go Tuesday. They'll definitely not go Wednesday pre-match. They'll go Tuesday and they'll train over there Wednesday and go into the game. And as I said last night, he needs battlers in Russia. So I think he will box clever at Motherwell, and I think no matter what he puts out, he'll be strong enough to beat Motherwell. If they come away from Motherwell with a 1-0 win, keep the run going. And prepare properly for Europe for me, but I think they're mighty strong enough to go and win it for Park.
Do you think he'll make wholesale changes?
No, I think maybe 3 or 4 Higgs. I think, yeah. Oh, I think so. I think so. I think Lafferty will start. I think Barisic will come back in. I think if I look at the squad who was playing last night, he might rest Ryan Kent and play the wee winger that come
Middleton.
on, Middleton. So players like that, there's three right away. So yeah, I think he could change it. He could bring, I don't know, he could maybe rest Tav. He done that before, didn't he? He rested Tavernier, played Flanagan at right back and kept Tav on the bench one of the games. So yeah, I think he'll rotate it. I think he will.
But being the devil's advocate, what's more important, the league or the European Cup competition?
I think right now, I think it's a toss of the coin, because he's had that much success in Europe. I think Europe really means a lot to him. And you know something as well? I think he's been part of a European run and the Europa League with Liverpool.
Well, I'll tell you,
he knows how important it is.
I'll tell you an interesting thing. He was asked at the press conference if this European thing was a bonus, and he said no. Because that's what the board expected. They expected them to do well in the league and expected them to do well in Europe. He said, so it's not a bonus. It's what the board required of us.
I think the squad's big enough. I think they'll be relishing more games in Europe, more full houses, more momentums, more wins, and testing themselves against better teams that they're going to test themselves in the coming Saturday in the Premier League.
Yeah.
If you're getting that right, Higgs.
The way you're talking, see the way you're talking, Hugh, that's the most sort of confident I've ever heard you talking about Rangers, because obviously the last couple of years has been very difficult for Rangers and yourself. But it's great to hear you.
Yeah, and you know something, as I've just said, and as Murdo pointed it out, especially with the Maribor game, the fact that they'll not be playing, or was it you who said it, Bill? They'll not be playing as against.
No, I said it.
Yeah, they'll not be playing against as good a team as that.
They won't be playing teams like Osijek and Maribor week in, week out in the Premier League.
Maribor is a better team than UEFA. So I expect Rangers to go to Motherwell, to rest 2 or 3 players, bring players in who want to do the business. I didn't have, the bench last night was strong. He'll have players who maybe didn't even make the bench. Would Wallace start? Possibly. Would he leave Flanagan out, Gimenez? Because remember, Barisic will not be able to go and play as well, so he might leave Flanagan out, bring Wallace in, might leave Tavernier out, play somebody. I don't know what he'll do. What game was it he left Tav out? He left Tav out a game and played Flanagan at right back and then brought him on. It was quite a strange one. I think it was at home. Was it not against St Mirren they left Tav out?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. And then brought him on in the last 20 minutes. So I think he'll do that.
Let me ask you this, Higgs. Curtis Main and Connor Salmon, are they going to be the biggest test that the 2 centre-backs of Rangers have faced domestically so far this year?
Well, they're two players that are big and strong and obviously hustle and bustle you, but I think the 2 centre-backs at Rangers at the present time are looking solid, they're looking resilient, and they can put the boot in when they want to. I'll rephrase that, they can be physical when they want to as well. So from that point of view, I think it'll be a test, but I think Rangers will have so much of the ball tomorrow that I think it's going to be a real difficult encounter for Motherwell.
Go to Fir Park any time. If they're up for it and their tails will be up for it, it's a battle. You win the battle, you win the game, and now you've got a guy in the Stadium Park driving them on. I don't think it matters what he does. If Rangers turn up, Rangers have got better players. Better players win football matches.
Here's something to think about as well, guys. Fir Park has never been in such good condition. It's in lovely condition the last season or so, and it will suit Rangers going there, the style of football that they play.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think in general, all the pitches, take the 4G out it, all the pitches have all got better. Let's hope Aberdeen's better than what it was. The rest of them, they're all great pitches, and I think that only helps teams that want to get it in the back, on the deck and pass it, and I think Rangers are doing that.
Well, Heggs early on stuck his colours to the mast and said 3-0. Are you sticking with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be far away from that as well. I can't see Motherwell scoring against Rangers right now with that back four, and I'm sure he'll play Goldstein and Katic because they're the main guys in there. They can tweak it round about them, and I think Rangers. I'm going to go with Higgs' score. I think they'll win 3-0. 3-0.
Okay, let's move to Celtic Park on Sunday as well. Both those teams, obviously Rangers and Celtic, involved in the Europa League last night, which means that they get an extra day to collect themselves at Celtic Park. Visitors are Hamilton Accies, of course. Heggs, I'm going to ask you because obviously for somebody like you, if you saw the Celtic goal, if you saw the goal against Celtic rather,
sort of us scoring the Lithuanian team.
I mean, what was your thoughts on that? For me, that was schoolboy errors.
Aye, but it's happened on numerous occasions this season, and it just shows you what can happen in the space of maybe 6 weeks. Started the season and everyone's thinking, they're going to be second or third to Celtic, and it's now, I'm not saying the roles have reversed, but Celtic are going through a real difficult time. Can he sign John McGinn? He's went to Aston Villa. Obviously the manager's trying to get players in, hasn't got the players in, and they aren't playing particularly well. And this is when you need your experienced players at the club, Craig Gordon, Scott Brown, and people like that to drive the other players on, because they've done it on numerous occasions for Celtic. It's now someone at Celtic to take up the mantle and say, well, by the way, we're not playing particularly well, we've got to change it, because Brendan Rodgers has done a marvellous job, but it's probably his most difficult spell, guys, for the last couple of seasons, and it's a real test. I know they'll win, they'll beat Hamilton tomorrow, but it's one of these ones that wasn't a very good result in Europe, albeit it was one. We know it's against a Lithuanian team, but I think people at Parkhead and at Celtic would think you would get a result over there quite easily. They haven't. Tomorrow, I just feel as well, Hamilton have got 3 points out of the 6. They've done all right. They've started okay. One win in 2 games. No one's probably expecting them to get a result against Celtic tomorrow. I saw actually Hamilton against Celtic 2 seasons ago, and it took Celtic a good hour before they unlocked it, and then eventually winning winners 2-0. I think Martin Cannon will just get people behind the ball and try and frustrate Celtic, and if they can try and sneak one, then that's a real added bonus. But I think Celtic will be like Rangers tomorrow. They'll win them by that same score.
Yeah, I think so, Heggs. I've got to agree with you. I think Celtic obviously are plenty strong enough to do the business, but I just think everybody's watching Celtic very closely right now and going, it's not a forlorn. They're not going to win easy. They're not going to trample over the top of teams. Hence, no really that convincing against Partick Thistle last Sunday, or last Saturday, I should say, and certainly not that overly convincing last night as well. So I don't think all is well there. There's you just wonder what is going on. What is going on there right now between the chairman, the manager, try to get, blame the centre backs, try to blame the defensive frailties that they've got right now. But, Dembele's not exactly setting the head on fire. Neither's Griffiths. Brown's a wee bit more tentative. Kearney's no bombing up and down the line he was. Forrest isn't getting past his left back as much. So it's all very easy blaming the centre backs and defensively, but these other guys are not exactly playing at the top of their game. McGregor had a quiet night last night. As well. So, collectively it's the blame, not just the back. Sometimes you can defend for the front, and Celtic maybe not be doing that and putting a wee bit more pressure on the back four. So, fair's fair. Everybody's in it together. You win together, you lose together, you take the stick together, you take the plaudits together. Hamilton go there, they'll enjoy the occasion. You go, you stifle them, you make the home fans upset, you try and nick stuff round about their 18. Hamilton's got a bit of height, get it into the box with a wee bit of quality, try and nick something, sit and defend, and take what you can get. I don't think the way Celtic are playing, they'll spank Hamilton, but the flip side of it, all these guys that I've mentioned, McGregor, Dembele and Tierney's and all that, they're all great players. They turn up, then Hamilton are in a game, that. If they don't turn up the way they've been doing it recently, or they've not been doing it recently, You never know. 11v11 match situation, Sunday afternoon kick-off. I don't know. I'll go with Celtic to win, but not overly convincing. I'm going to go Celtic 2-0, guys.
All right, here's an interesting one for you guys, and I just want you to think about it and then answer me on this one. I was going to the airport last night and I listened to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. In the studio was Stephen Thompson, Chick Young, Tom English, Richard Gordon and Ian McCall.
That must have been interesting.
And towards the end of the programme, somebody said, who's going to finish second in the Premier League this year? Is it going to be Aberdeen? Is it going to be Rangers? And somebody stood up, put their head above the parapet and said, hang on a minute, shouldn't we be asking who's going to win the Premier League this year? And it got into quite an interesting little fracas about nobody was 100% sure that Celtic would win the league this year. And it was quite an interesting discussion. Tell me your thoughts on that bit of it. But here's another one I was going to ask for you both to answer very quickly as we finish up tonight. And that is, are we making too much of the situation at Celtic Park? Are we trying to turn it into a crisis that isn't there? There are obviously problems, but are we overplaying it because Rangers are doing so well and we want there to be this rivalry again and to be closer?
Yeah. Well, listen, sorry, Paul, when you go.
No, on you go.
No, I'm just thinking that it's healthy. It's suddenly healthy. I think, people have got the opinion of where they think Celtic are. I think Celtic are just a bit stale. I still think they've got good players. And for the life of me, Paul, and yourself, Bill, I just cannot believe that Peter Lawwell didn't pull in Brendan Rodgers at the end of the season on the back of another treble. Now, this guy can only do so much. A double treble and go, right, how much do you think you need here to go and win the league again next year? I know Rangers will strengthen, but we've got the money in the bank. We will go and strengthen again. But then it's all down to recruitment. Are you offering enough players coming to Celtic Football Club? Are you giving them enough incentive to come and play in the Scottish Premier League? So there'll be a lot of players that Celtic will have looked at that players will have just not been interested in coming to play in Scotland. That's what they're up against. It's a bit different for Rangers because players that he's bringing in are clearly better than what we've been watching for Rangers over the last few years, and not exactly busting the bank or breaking the bank. I'm still spending a bit of money. I'm not being derogatory or cheeky to the chairman or the board. They're spending good money, but not at the level that Celtic could spend, and they're no, Bill. And they don't look as though they're going to spend. The window's closed in England. Certainly bring in players on loan. They don't like doing that. I think the only one I can remember they brought in is wee Patrick Roberts. So they're no high on that.
Well, Denayer came in on loan as well.
Well, that was another player we spoke about maybe coming back up.
Well, he's away. He's gone to...
Oh, he went to Leon.
He went to Leon.
Yeah, so I just think Murdo said last year the gap narrowed by Celtic. Celtic no doing that great and the other teams doing a wee bit better. Now you're again looking at Celtic no doing that well and Rangers getting much better, and that for me narrows the gap.
Paul?
I think the big test will be the first Old Firm derby. It'll be clear to see what the intentions of Celtic and Rangers are after that result, guys. Because if there is a result for Rangers, then it puts added pressure on Celtic, because obviously I'm not saying the tide's changed, because one swallow doesn't make a summer, but it will make a massive difference to Rangers as a club, but also in confidence. And then there might be a sort of reaction from Celtic, but I think the first Old Firm derby will be a big test. I really do. I think this year, for the first time for a good number of years, I think the league could go to the wire, because Hibs and Aberdeen will have a big say in it. I'm not saying they're not going to win the league. I think it'll be one of the Old Firm, which is never far off the mark. Yeah. But I think Aberdeen and Hibs will have big says in it, because I think they'll be able to take points off Rangers and Celtic respectively. Yeah. And Aberdeen have done that in the first game of the season. So I think there'll be a big say between the other two clubs as well, where the championship goes this year, guys.
If I looked at Hibs going entertaining Celtic tomorrow, that would be hard to call. Really hard to call on present form. if Hibs were entertaining Rangers, I'm going to say, don't you? I would fancy Rangers because of the way they're playing and the head of steam that they've got up and the way they're defending to go and win at Hibs. And I just think that Rangers are playing better stuff right now.
Here's a scenario for you. Mm-hmm. Rangers go to Celtic Park on the 2nd and they win. Mm-hmm. Celtic haven't brought any other players in. Steven Gerrard's still talking about looking for a couple of guys to come in. Celtic don't bring any other players in. Rangers go to Celtic Park on the 2nd. That then does really put pressure on Celtic, because by that time the window's closed and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
it does, but do you not think Brendan Rodgers will be looking at players just now, Bill? He will be.
Well, here's the thing, Paul. Sorry to interrupt you, but here's the thing.
Right.
And I think very rationally about these things. Do you not think Brendan Rodgers has been looking at players throughout the whole of the time and actually named a few, including John McGinn and Scott McKenna, and at this point he's not getting the money to buy them? Because they either think they were overpriced, which I don't quite get with Celtic and the way they are with their bank account. I don't quite get it. But there is something stopping players going into Celtic Park at the moment. And I don't think that Brendan Rodgers, by any stretch of the imagination, has left the question of can I get players till the week before the window closes. Because by definition, by the time you get there, you're mopping up the players that haven't been taken by anybody else.
Yeah.
But wouldn't Celtic surprise you if they got somebody of marquee stature? Because everyone was sort of taken aback when Celtic announced that Brendan Rodgers was going to Parkhead. So that might happen.
So are you saying that Brendan Rodgers would bring a marquee player in for £6-7 million again after he spent £7 million on Edouard? And that one player, I think Celtic fans would be up in arms. I think they would turn around and say, we need 3 different players or 4 different players in these positions, and we've spent £14 million on Edouard, who's missed half the season so far in terms of injuries. And I know we're only into 3 games, but he's missed those. When he did play the last time I heard against AAK, which is Jerry Collins was at, he told me his exact words were he was an empty jersey. So I don't see that he could justify spending £14 million on 2 marquee players as he looks at them.
I never said 14 million, but what I would say, if there was a problem and he obviously saw Rangers, really picking up steam, which it has been, he might just do something unusual or do something that. But by the way, I never saw that coming. So just watch the space.
Just a day for me.
They might just do that.
Yeah.
Stephen Gerrard's, doing very, very well.
Just a bit late in the day for me, Higgs. Higgs, we're out of time, mate. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Shug, and I'll see you next.
Love music, live sport. Talking football with Bill Young, Hugh Burns, and Paul Hegarty on Rock Sport Radio.